Hi, everybody, and welcome to English 101. My name is Mrs. Yanko, and I'll be your instructor this semester. So this video is just meant to give you an overview of the course. I'll talk about how to keep in touch with me, the assignments that you'll be submitting, where to pay attention in D2L, like where you'll find the most important material in D2L, and just overall how to be successful in the course. So let's go ahead and get started. So again, my name is Mrs. Yanko. Here's how you can get in touch with me, my email, my office, my phone number in my office, and I will show you where to find my student hours on D2L. So the best way to get in touch with me is probably through email. That's, that way I can kind of address your question when I have time. You could also leave a voicemail for me and I would get that pretty promptly. And as I said, the best time to get in touch with me will be my student hours. When we get over to D2L, I'll show you where to find that information. Let's talk a little bit about the assignments that you'll be doing this semester. So the semester is broken into 4 units. 3 of those units have essay assignments associated with them. So let's go ahead and have a look. So the first unit that you'll be starting right away is Unit 1. That's 15% of your grade. And during that unit, you'll be working on active reading and planning, drafting, revising, and submitting a personal essay in response to one of your readings. Right? Notice that each unit is broken into formative assessments and summative assessments. So the formative assessments are smaller assignments that kind of build to the bigger assignment, and then the summative assessment is kind of the final assessment in that unit. For Unit 2, we'll be working on information literacy skills, so finding and evaluating sources, paraphrasing effectively, learning how to quote selectively and well, and then you'll be finding an article on your own using a database, and you'll be evaluating that article, and that will be your summative assignment. So Unit 2 does not have an essay associated with it as its summative assignment, but some of the work we're doing in Unit 2 will lead to the Unit 3 essay. So they overlap a little bit here. Unit 3 is where you'll be writing a summary response essay. Again, formative assessments are kind of the planning documents and rough drafts for the essay. And then the summative assessment will be the essay. And then finally, Unit 4 is a critical evaluation essay. So there's going to be 5 readings. I'll be giving you reading 1. I'll give you a couple options for that one. Unit 2 and 3, I will give you reading 2, and you will be finding reading 3. And then for Unit 4, I will be giving you reading 4, and you will find the R5. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to say here. The other thing to keep in mind is that each of the essays, they're going to have very similar structures, meaning that they're going to be kind of built the same way, but they're going to have very different purposes and topics. All right. So Unit 1 is a personal essay. This is where you'll be writing about kind of your personal connections to the topic. Unit 3, well, 2 and 3, which kind of overlap a little bit. The summary response essay is where you will respond to the author's ideas and whether you agree or disagree with the ideas. Unit 4, the evaluation essay, is when you're looking at how well the author makes the argument. And what's really interesting to me about the Unit 4 one is that it doesn't really even matter. This sounds really rude, but it doesn't even matter what you think about the issue or the topic or whether you agree or disagree. It's all about how well the author made the argument, all right? And obviously, throughout the lessons this semester, I'll be teaching you how to do that, all right? It also talks about how long the essays should be. So we have that down at the bottom. What percentage of your grade is made up of each of these assignments. Okay, so let's now go into D2L. So the most important place for you to go in D2L is the announcements page. So I want you to think about all the material in the D2L course page course site as a textbook, right? You didn't have to buy a textbook for this course, so all material is loaded into that D2L page. And some of it we'll use, some of it we won't. So to make sure that you are staying focused on what you need to be doing for my course, you want to be going to the announcements page, right? Let me go ahead and bring that up. Okay. Just going to exit out of here. Oops. There we go. Okay, so here we go. Here's your D2L page, or it's the D2L page of the course I'm currently teaching. So I might be using this video another time. So you might not have the right section number up here, but that's okay. So here's our D2L page. And let's go out to your home page. So this is what you'll get when you go into your courses, right? So you want to find your section. And right now I'm teaching section 517. Yours might be a little bit different. And you see content, activities, tools, grades, and there's a lot of information in all of these places, and it can get overwhelming. So I want you to make sure that you are always going to this announcements page, which should be the first page in the course. Okay? You can always, if you get lost in all the material in D2L, you go down that rabbit hole, you can just click on this up at the top, and it'll take you back to the announcements page. Okay? So the announcements page is where I will give you your weekly assignments. So it'll break it down. Here's what you need to do this week. I'll add any reminders that you need. I'll give links to the resources. So anything that I go over in a video, a slideshow, or a document that I show in the video, you should have links to those resources on the announcements page. So the announcements page is the most important place for you to go in D2L. The other thing you see on the announcements page are these widgets. They're these kind of smaller things over on the right-hand side here. So we have the Zoom widget. So that's if you set up a meeting with me over Zoom, this will be the link that you'll use. We have the contact your instructor widget. So that just gives you reminders about my phone number, my office location, and my email. The course schedule widget, you would click on that and it'll take you right to the schedule so you can see what's going on this week. I do my best to have the schedule kind of prepped ahead of time, but I do make changes to the schedule throughout the semester because just things change. So make sure that you can look at the schedule, but the announcements are probably going to be the most up-to-date. They're going to have the most up-to-date information. All right. Okay, so let's get back to this. Okay. Under content, you'll find this information. There we go. Okay. So as I said, it can be overwhelming because all the course information is going to be in content and you can get lost. You can follow these links and end up somewhere where you don't need to be right now. Okay. But we have the getting started, and this is what I want you to be looking over this week so that you understand all this material. We have course information. This is where you'll find, again, my contact information. There we are. And down at the bottom, it has my student hours listed. And these are my student hours this current semester. If you're watching this in a different semester, my student hours might be different. Okay. And it also just talks about how to get in touch with me and the expected response time. So generally, if you get in touch with me during one of the work days, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, I should get back to you by the end of the day. And if I don't, certainly follow up. If you contact me during the evening or over the weekend, you might not hear back from me until the next work day. All right. So just keep that in mind. Course policies and expectations. I'm certainly not going to read this to you, so I would expect you to look this over. Attendance, academic integrity, types of assignments. It does have the information about late work. I think I'll be going over that in the slideshow. Okay. It has the syllabus for the course, a link to that, and a link to our evaluation measures menu. and it has a list of the required assignments and points. Right, so that's all under the the course information folder. We have the schedule. Again, you can look at that, but the announcements will probably be the most accurate and up-to-date information. There's some student resources and tutorials here. So student services would be things like tutoring services, the Writing Center, registrar. So if you're looking for that information, here's a link here for that. Technology resources, how to get tech support if you need it. Some tips on learning with technology. One of the ones that will be really helpful to you is how do I access feedback and grades. Uploading handwritten submissions. If you want to download Office 365, you can get that for free through Delaware Tech. And there's also a place for course awards. All right. And then the other thing we have here are Zoom resources, which we aren't using Zoom for class, so we probably don't even need that. I might remove that from our Getting Started page. All right. We have course readings. So I'll try to keep this up to date. So here's some of the readings that you'll have for R1. Again, this semester, I might change that from semester to semester. Unit 1 will be our personal essay writing. And I have, usually I have the units broken down into topics and lessons. So here's Unit 1, Topic 1. This is the one you'll be working on this week, the importance of active reading. And we have Lesson 1, pre-reading, Lesson 2, during reading, Lesson 3, post-reading. So that'll be the week 1 material, all right? And then there should be an assignment here, and there's the assignment, all right? But again, the announcements will link to these, to the ones that are relevant that week, okay? So I recommend going to the announcements versus going to content. Same thing with activities. You can go to activities, click assignments, and see what assignments you have. You can see your grade, your feedback over here when the time comes, but those assignments will also be linked in the announcements. So if you don't want to get lost in all the material on the course page, stick to the announcements, all right? Grades, probably someplace you might want to go at some point. This will list your points that you earned on the assignment. It'll have the grade, and then it'll have the feedback over here. So I'm going to talk about feedback in a few minutes here too. Oh, the other thing that we have under content that I missed here is if we go a little bit further down below all the units, we have these English common modules. So if there's something that maybe you need to double check, maybe it's something we already covered in class and you can't remember where it is in the announcements or in the unit materials, you can come down here to the common modules. So there's a reference guide for APA. There's some grammar information here, research skills. So these are just some common modules that all the English courses have loaded in them. And then I have, well, it doesn't look like it's here. I have another tab that's review materials, which isn't turning up here because I might have it turned off by accident. But it'll also have kind of some of the lessons that I provided, and it'll just organize them a little bit differently. It'll organize them alphabetically. So if you need to find something quickly, it should be there. Okay. All right. Okay. Activities we talked about. Grades. Okay. So let's talk about how to read your feedback. I'm going to actually have to go into a different course to show you this, so I can find one where I submitted an assignment and you can see the feedback from it. It's not really letting me. There we go. Let me try this. Okay. And I believe it's this one where I have this sample to show you. Okay. So the feedback is very, very important, and there's 3 levels of feedback that you might see. There's the overall feedback, and that just shows up as maybe a paragraph when you look at your assignment or look at your grade, right? But there's usually much more detailed feedback than that on the actual document, and that is called the inline feedback, inline, all right? It's really important that you read that, so let me show you how to do so. One place that you might see it is going through activities, assignments. Here we go. Okay. So here's one that I just did as an example for the annotating assignment. All right. So here, if you're just looking at assignments, it'll show you that you submitted something and it'll give you your number and letter grade here. But you want to go over here to feedback. All right. Now, what's kind of tricky about the feedback here is you might go here and you might see this overall feedback and say, okay, that's my feedback. But what you have to make sure you're doing is scrolling down this whole page. So you're going to have the rubric, and the rubric will kind of break down the criteria and show you where you were doing better, where you might need to pay more attention on the next assignment, right? But even then, you have to scroll all the way down here. See, it's all the way at the bottom of the page. And if the rubric is really big, you're going to have to scroll pretty far to get to this. View inline feedback, and you would click on that, and it'll bring up like a scanned version of your document that you submitted. Okay. And then you'll see, and for some reason it's not showing up on mine, but you'll see little sticky notes or text boxes where I will tell you specifically where you need to make some changes in your assignment. Okay. I don't know why they're not showing on mine, but they should. Okay. So that's one way. So assignments, feedback, click on that, scroll, scroll, scroll till you see inline feedback at the bottom. All right. The other way you can see your feedback is going through grades. And here it's a little bit more obvious where the inline feedback is, but I don't see the overall feedback here. So you might not see the overall feedback on this end, all right? So view inline feedback. Again, it's going to bring up this scanned version for you. I don't know why the sticky notes aren't showing, but on my example, I did a couple sticky notes in here. You have to hover over them to see what the note says. View graded rubric. Yeah. So it looks like, I don't know, for some reason the overall feedback isn't showing up on this end. Okay. So to get both, I don't know. It looks like going through assignments seems to be the better way to do it, but you have to scroll pretty far down. Okay. Let me know if it looks different on your end when you start getting feedback on your assignments, but that's what I seem to be seeing here. There's something else I was going to think about feedback. Yep, and I lost it. Okay. So make sure you're reading. Oh, I know what it is. I forget when you get a notification that you got feedback on an assignment, it goes to either assignments or grades. So make sure you're looking in both places. Okay. Boom. All right, let's go back. Okay, assignments. There's my feedback. All right. I will ask that you submit all assignments as files on D2L. All right. There will be some documents where I'm going to have you save a Google Doc and share it with me, but that's just for kind of doing the work on there. I don't know that you're ready for me to grade it until it's submitted through D2L. All right. So make sure you're still submitting them. You can submit them as Word documents. You can submit them as PDFs. You could, there's an option to submit Google Docs on there. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, but please submit them as files on D2L. If you are someone who's using Apple products, just be aware that I cannot, on my end, open Pages files or HEIC or like image files. So please make sure you're converting them before you submit. Oops. Another thing I want you to do is avoid batching assignments. And what that means is think about the writing process. You're going to be doing an outline, a rough draft, and a final draft of your essays. You can't submit an outline and a rough draft at the same time. That would be batching an assignment. That doesn't make sense because the outline, you're meant to get feedback on that, use that feedback to then develop your rough draft. So if you're falling behind on your assignments and like the rough draft is coming up and you never did the outline, you can't submit the outline and the rough draft at the same time. Okay? And as I said, please read the feedback, not just the grade, and I'll know if you don't. So please do. All right, late work. This is in the expectations and department policies, but let me go over it. Only on-time complete assignment submissions will receive full credit. So if you have a formative assignment that's late, you have up to 48 hours past the original deadline, and you'll have a 10% penalty on that. The reason the formative assignment late window is so short is because those are usually leading to other assignments. So we can't have them, floating around out there for a week. Summative assignments, if that one's late, you have up to a week after the original due date, and that'll be a 15% penalty. Assignments generally close on D2L after the late window and may not be submitted once they've closed unless you have some documented excuse, which we can talk about on an individual basis. And also, please be aware the last week of the semester, these late windows are not really available because the semester ends and I have to have my grades in. So when the final paper's due, my grades are due less than a week after that. So I can't give you an extra week to turn in a paper late if my grades are due 2 days after. All right. So no late work is accepted during the last week of this semester. Okay. All right. So here's some tips about being successful in this course. The first little thing I'm going to go over here, the first topic I'm going to go over here might be a little surprising to you. And I'm not saying this because I think my class is the most important. I'm saying this because this is the nature of college classes, all right? So you want to make sure that you're creating a schedule for yourself so that you can dedicate time and effort and reflection and all those sorts of things to the work you're doing in this class. A lot of what we're doing in this class, you're not going to do well on it if you're rushing through it. So you want to make sure that you're giving your time to put thoughtful effort into your work, and not just for my class, for all of your classes. All right. So there's a general rule of thumb out there that college courses require 1 to 3 hours outside of class for every hour of in-class work. Right. Like when I went to college, they told us 3 hours for every hour we were in class. We should be spending 3 hours on homework outside of class. It's a little bit kind of more flexible now. Now, keep in mind that this is an accelerated class. Oh, and I have some links here for some of the places that support what I'm telling you here. Okay. University of Wisconsin, College Parent Central, Rogue Community College. So it's like big universities. It's other community colleges. So this is kind of a general rule of thumb. So keep in mind that this is an accelerated class since we're in an 11-week session here. So we're still doing 45, because it's usually a 15-week class, 3 hours a week. So that's a 45-hour class. But now we're doing it in 11. So that means we're doing about 4 hours of in-class work. So that would be watching the videos that I'm giving you and doing some of the learning activities that I have posted, okay? That would be kind of that 4 hours that you'd be spending in class. It's probably not going to take you 4 hours to do that work, but that would be, if you were going to class, that's how much time you'd be spending in class. So that means outside of class, you'd be expected to spend 4 to 12 hours a week. I don't think you're going to be spending that much time on my class. And if you are, maybe let me know and we can see if there's something that you're doing that you don't need to be doing. But you should be setting aside plenty of time. This is saying 8 to 16. I'm doing math here. 8 to 16 hours a week. I don't think you'll need that much time, but you should be spending more than like an hour a week on the material for this course. Okay. So we got to find that kind of balance between, don't overwhelm yourself, but make sure you're putting time and effort into the course materials. Now that's a big variation in time, right? And there's a lot of, there's a word I'm thinking about, a lot of variables that would say whether you're on the lower end of how much time you would need to spend on work for this class or on the higher end. So one thing that might make a difference is how strong you are already at the skills we're working on this class. So some people already have pretty strong reading and writing skills, and they're just going to be building on those. So they might not need to spend maybe as much time on the work for this class as someone who struggles with reading and writing. Okay. So some people are going to have to put more time and effort in than others just based on the skills you're coming in with. And that's how it goes. Okay. Another variable would be what grade do you want to get in the class, all right? Some people aren't happy with just passing, and that's great. Other people want to get the best grades they can possibly get. So the people who want to get excellent grades will probably need to put in more time and effort than someone who's like, I just want to pass, okay? The other variable, I would say, is the time in the semester. There's going to be some times in the semester where you're going to be very, very busy, other times in the semester where you might breeze through the work pretty easily, all right? And that's just, again, the nature of the game. But make sure you're going into this knowing that you should be spending several hours a week on this course, if not more, okay? And your other classes as well. Right, so make sure you have the time for that. Let me know if it is getting overwhelming, because there might be something you're doing that you don't need to do. But if you're not doing as well in the class as you hoped, as we start getting into the material, I want you to start thinking about that possibility that maybe you need to put some more time into it, okay? Some other keys to success: please view the video lessons. I'm trying to keep them short. If I can't keep them short, I'm trying to put like chapter breaks in them so you can go directly to what you need to watch. Make sure you're actively engaging with the videos, taking notes, not just turning it on and zoning out, okay? Make sure you're turning in all your assignments on time, because it's, it just kind of stinks to not get the grade that you should get because of late penalties. Please keep in touch with me, all right? I'm here to help, so make sure that you're letting me know if you're struggling with anything. Don't just keep spinning your wheels because you are, you don't want to ask me for help. That's what I'm here for. We also have other people that can help in our tutoring center. So at Stanton, the tutoring center is in room D113. The other campuses have tutoring centers as well. I just don't know off the top of my head what room they're in. And we have a virtual tutoring center. So if you can't make it to the campus, you can get online and you'll get matched with somebody who can help you in whatever subject area you need help with. And they will talk through it with you in a Zoom session. All right. So let's have a great semester. I'm looking forward to working with you. I look forward to hearing from you through the introduction so I can get to know you a little bit better. And move on to week 1 and let's get going. Take care. Bye.